أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يقلب الله الليل والنهار إن في ذلك لعبرة لأولي الأبصار رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي فالحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله يقلب الله الليل والنهار Allah alternates the night and the day إن في ذلك لعبرة لأولي الأبصار In that, in and of itself, there is a tremendous lesson and warning for those who truly possess insight. لِأُولِي الْأَبْصَارِ The possessors of vision, meaning possessors of insight. وَاللَّهُ خَلَقَ كُلَّ دَابَّةٍ مِّن مَاءٍ And Allah, in fact, created every kind of beast out of water. فَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَمْشِي عَلَى بَطْنِهِ Out of them are the ones that crawl on their belly, like snakes and things like that. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَمْشِي عَلَى رِجْلَيْنِ And of them are those that walk on two legs, human beings, monkeys, kangaroos, etc. وَمِنْهُمْ مَنْ يَمْشِي عَلَى أَرْبَعٍ And then there are the four-legged animals. وَيَخْلُقُ اللَّهُ مَا يَشَاءُ Allah creates whatever He wants. إِنَّ اللَّهَ عَلَى كُلِّ شَيْءٍ قَدِيرٌ Certainly Allah is in complete control over all things. This is the ayah that dominates the Discovery Channel. This is the ayah that all creatures that you're going to look at are going to be under this ayah. لقد أنزلنا آيات مبينات والله يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم Truly Allah has already sent down absolutely clear and clarifying miraculous signs, and Allah Himself is the one that guides whoever He wants or whoever wants to be guided to a straight path. وَيَقُولُونَ آمَنَّا بِاللَّهِ وَبِالرَّسُولِ And they say we've come to believe in Allah and the Messenger. وَأَطَعْنَا And we do obey. We will obey. In other words, we're ready to obey. This is the word of the hypocrites. I told you this surah will also deal with hypocrisy. Now that the stains on the glass are going to show up, they come to the Messenger and say, of course we believe. And if you were to tell us to do something, of course we'd obey. وَأَطَعْنَا ثُمَّ يَتَوَلَّى فَرِيقٌ مِّنْهُم مِّن بَعْدِ ذَلِكَ Then a group among them, even after saying something like that, they turn away. وَمَا أُولَٰئِكَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ And they are not the believers at all. In Arabic language, you actually expect here to say وَمَا أُولَٰئِكَ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ The khabar is usually nakira, not بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ, بِمُؤْمِنِينَ. Like you see in Surah Al-Baqarah, وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ وَمَا هُمْ بِمُؤْمِنِينَ But here you see وَمَا أُولَٰئِكَ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ And that is because Allah is saying these people are nothing like the actual believers, meaning the Sahaba I'm so proud of. They're nothing like the believers. He has highlighted them particularly. So He kind of alluded to the real believers and negated these guys both at the same time by the al. وَإِذَا دُعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ And when they're called to Allah and His Messenger, لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَهُمْ So that He may pass any verdicts between them, إِذَا فَرِيقٌ مِّنْهُمْ مُعْرِضُونَ Then all of a sudden there's a group among them that tries to ignore that meeting and ignore that instruction. No, we didn't hear we had to show up. What do you mean? We had to come, we had to go, Messenger called? No, I didn't realize. Oh, He didn't call me personally. So I didn't realize that it was for me. وَإِن يَكُنْ لَهُمْ And by the way, that's ridiculous. If the Messenger calls Muslims, then you can't say, well, I didn't get a personal invitation from him. Just go. Stop making excuses. وَإِن يَكُنْ لَهُمُ الْحَقِّ But if there was a conflict and they're going to go to the Prophet ﷺ as the judge, and they know before going in that they're the ones that are going to win the case, in other words, they are right this time, they're going to win the case this time. Because even bad people sometimes, someone does something wrong to them and they will win the case. If the case is going to go against them, they'll just ignore that the Prophet's going to judge between them. They're just going to not go. But if they know they'll win the case, they see that as a golden opportunity. Hey, I know the Prophet's going to pass verdict in my favor, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So it's going to make me look like, first of all, I acknowledged him as our leader. It's going to make me look like a sincere believer. And I'm guaranteed to win the case because I know he's a fair judge. So why not? إِيَّكُلْ لَهُمُ الْحَقِّ If they're going to have the right, the truth is going to be on their side, in other words, يَأْتُوا إِلَيْهِ مُذْعِنِينَ Then they come to him like obedient camels. مُذْعِنِينَ With their heads lowered. Dha'ana also means to obey at the slightest hint. You know? Like your kids, you don't even have to tell them what to do. You just kind of like point at them. You just go like this, and they go start doing their homework. That's مُذْعِنِينَ Like super ready to obey. Of course, all Muslim children. أَفِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ Is it a disease they have in their hearts? Is that the problem? أَمْ يَرْتَابُوا Or have they fallen into doubt? أَمْ يَخَافُونَ أَنْ يَحِيفَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ Or is it the case that they're afraid that Allah is going to be biased against them? حَافَ يَحِيفُ الْمَيْلِ, leaning against them. Like Allah is, because of what they've done in the past, they're like, there's no way they're going to pass a judgment in my favor. And I'm never going there. وَرَسُولُهُ, and that the messenger holds a grudge and he's going to be biased against them. بَلْ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الظَّالِمُونَ. No, they're in fact the ones that do wrong. Allah and the messenger shouldn't be accused of such wrongdoing. إِنَّمَا كَانَ قَوْلَ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِذَا دُعُوا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ. The only words that came out of the believer's mouth, the only thing that was heard from them when they were called to Allah and His Messenger was, or to His Messenger, لِيَحْكُمَ بَيْنَهُمْ, so that He may pass verdicts among them, make judgments between them. So there's a case, and Muslims are called. They would say what? أَنْ يَقُولُوا سَمِعْنَا وَأَطَعْنَا. They would say, we listen, we obey. They'd show up whether they're guilty or not. Like there's not even an option. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ. And then those are in fact the ones that are the ultimately successful. This ayah is this is considered actually one of the most beautiful, comprehensive ayat of the Quran. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيَخْشَى اللَّهَ وَيَتَّقْهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَائِزُونَ. Strange word, يَتَّقْهِ. It's actually يَتَّقِهِ, but this is done for a particular reason. We'll share that in a second. Whoever were to obey Allah and His Messenger and fear Allah and be cautious of Him, then those are the ultimately successful. I'll talk to you about yattaqi in a second, but I'll share with you a statement of Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهِ فِي فَرَائِضِهِ. Whoever obeys Allah, meaning the mandatory. وَرَسُولَهُ, and he obeyed His Messenger, فِي سُنَنِهِ. Meaning he obeyed the Messenger means, obeying Allah means the mandatory. Obeying the Messenger on top of that means the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. وَيَخْشَى اللَّهَ عَلَى مَا مَضَى مِن ذُنُوبِهِ. And he feared Allah, in parentheses, over whatever he feared in his past. Whatever stuff he's done in the past. وَيَتَّقِهِ وَيَتَّقْهِ. And he's cautious of Allah in whatever comes in the future. فِيمَا يَسْتَقْبِلُ. وعن بعض الملوك أنه سئل عن آية كافية فتليت له هذه الآية. And in some part of Islamic history, a king asked for one ayah that says it all, and this ayah was recited. Because it covers, hey, obey Allah, obey the Messenger, ask forgiveness for your past, and watch out about your future, and you'll be successful. So the entire spectrum of Islam is covered. وَمَنْ يُطِعِ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ وَيَخْشَى اللَّهَ وَيَتَّقْهِ. Now let's talk about yattaqhi. قُرِئَ وَيَتَّقِهِ بِكَسْرِ الْقَافِ وَالْهَا. So you can say وَيَتَّقِهِ. And then you can say بِسُكُونِ الْهَا وَيَتَّقِهِ. وَبِسُكُونِ الْقَافِ. Or you could say وَيَتَّقْهِ. And these are all varied pronunciations because in Arabic language, now this is only an Arabic sarf only conversation, students. I wish Judge Brown's here, okay. So the majzoom version of ittaqa, yattaqi, ittiqa'an. Yattaqi is marfu', yattaqiya is mansoob, and what's majzoom? Yattaqi, with a kasra. But for poetic reasons or stylistic reasons, you're even allowed to put a sukoon on that. So like ishtara, yashtari, the majzoom version is what? Yashtari, with a kasra. But the poet says, قالت سليمة اشتر لنا سويقا. Ishtar. So put a sukoon on it, even though it's supposed to be a kasra. And this is done when the act itself is highlighted so much that the unusual change of harakah is done. So when Allah says, وَيَتَّقْهِ means then he really had taqwa. Allah talks about taqwa everywhere in the Quran. Taqwa is mentioned everywhere in the Quran. But here Allah says, whoever would obey Allah and His Messenger and truly feared Allah or fears Allah over what already happened, then he goes out of his way to be careful about the future. Out of his way kind of taqwa. Yattaqhi. فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَائِزُونَ. Because the normal version would have been yattaqihi. Would have been a kasra on there. وَأَقْسَمُوا بِاللَّهِ جَهْدَ أَيْمَانِهِمْ. They swore to Allah, making jahda imanihim, going out of their way, making the effort to raise their right hand and by Allah, and such fervor in their oaths. لَإِنْ أَمَرْتَهُمْ, that if you were to command them, لَيَخْرُجُنَّ, they'd come out in battle. Of course, if you told us, we'd come. قُلْ لَا تُقْسِمُوا. Tell them, don't swear to me, please, don't waste my time. طَاعَةٌ مَعْرُوفَةٌ. There is a general known kind of obedience. In other words, when the messenger said, let's go to battle, they didn't show up. And then they say, no, of course if you told us, we would have come. You never personally came to my house and said, I have to go to the battle. This is an army. The general doesn't go to every foot soldier's house and say, hey, Are you coming? Because there's a battle. Could you please come? Okay, then I'll think about it. You can't come around and say, I never got a personal invitation from the Prophet ﷺ. The Messenger says, ta'atul ma'rufa. This is a known obedience. It was a general command. Why do you want special treatment? Inna Allah khabirun bima ta'malun. No doubt Allah, He knows what you're up to. This lame excuse making isn't going to fly. قُلْ أَطِيعُوا اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولِ. Tell them, obey Allah and obey the Messenger. فَإِن تَوَلَّوْا. Then if you're still going to turn away, فَإِنَّمَا عَلَيْهِ مَا حُمِّلْ. Then he's only and exclusively responsible for whatever he was charged with, whatever he was made responsible for. Literally says, whatever burdens were placed on him, حُمِّلَ. وَعَلَيْكُمْ مَا حُمِّلْتُمْ. And you are only going to be asked, and you are only responsible for whatever you have been charged with, whatever responsibilities you have been given. وَإِن تُطِيعُوهُ تَهْتَدُوا. And if you're going to follow him, that will show that you have committed yourselves to guidance. You'll be guided by obeying him. وَمَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ الْمُبِينُ. And the messenger is not going to go around making you obey. His only responsibility, and get this through your heads, his only responsibility is to communicate the message clearly. The message itself should convince you that he is worth obeying. He's not going to be a dictator. He's not going to go around and force you to obey him. وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. And you know what? You should go out and struggle along with the messenger in his missions. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Allah has promised those who believe among you and those who acted righteously, لَيَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْأَرْضِ. That He will give them strong place, that or khilafah you can say, in the land. يَسْتَخْلِفَنَّهُمْ. He will leave them behind in the land so that nobody else is left in charge. They are. The one who's left behind to take care of affairs, that's khalifa. Istikhlaf, to leave someone in charge. So Allah will leave them in charge, so they can have generations and generations and generations that are left in charge after them. كَمَا اسْتَخْلَفَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Just as He left some in charge way before them. وَلَيُمَكِّنَنَّ لَهُمْ دِينَهُمُ الَّذِي ارْتَضَىٰ لَهُمْ. And so that He may fortify for them and stabilize for them their religion that He is happy with for them. Meaning that Allah is happy with Islam for them. He will make sure Islam becomes a stable entity. Now, this is a Madani surah, and the Prophet is promising that they will have stability in the land. Up until now, Islam does not actually have stability. Medina was actually surrounded by Ahzab, either a few months before this surah came, or a couple of months after. Either way, Islam is not stable. The entire Muslim population was close to being annihilated. Okay? So it's still very much in a state of instability. On top of that, you have certain Jewish tribes that are violating their treaties and messing around with the Muslims. On top of that, you have the ranks of the hypocrites who are making secret, affiliations and alliances with the Makkans, the Quraysh in Makkah. You've got all kinds of problems. You've got all kinds of situations. And then on top of that is people like Abdullah ibn Ubay who will leave no stone unturned in trying to turn the entire Muslim morale upside down, like the accusation against Aisha radiallahu anha. The last thing Muslims have right now is stability. There's still very much a work in progress. So Allah promises them, those of you who truly believe among you, you will have the final word. You will have the authority in the land. This is a promise of victory ahead of time. But it teaches us something else on a side that I haven't discussed with you much, because those surahs haven't come yet. The surah is about the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ. This last portion is very much related to understanding the life of the Messenger and his career. Quran offers us insights that history books can't. History books can tell you this happened, and this happened, and this happened, and this happened. Quran can tell you Allah's insight into history. It's a unique perspective that can't be matched by human beings. So let's talk about that for a little bit. You see, Medina, in many history books, you'll read Medina is called the Islamic State, the first Islamic State. You probably heard that in Sunday school, Islamic school, etc. Right? And the Prophet ﷺ was the judge, and people will come to him for decision making, etc., etc. Though that's true, a more accurate description is Medina was the makings of an Islamic state. It was the formative phases of an Islamic state. It was the egg, but not the chick. It was makings. It was on its way, because it wasn't stable yet. There are a few proofs of that, a few easily observable proofs. One is the lack of stability, because a state by definition is what? Stable. Two is there is no martial law. In other words, or military courts. In other words, when soldiers abandon the battlefield, what's supposed to happen to soldiers in any society when they abandon the battlefield? They're supposed to be court-martialed. They can even be charged with treason and executed. That doesn't happen in Medina. In Medina, 300 walk off in Uhud, and they're still part of the Muslim community. Abdullah ibn Ubay does that. Abdullah ibn Ubay speaks out against and makes an accusation against Aisha radiallahu anha and survives, which is an attack on Islam itself. You know, they trash talk about the Quran, Sahaba, or allegedly Sahaba, these munafiqun, you know, and they get away with it. When you speak out against the Constitution or declare that you are rebelling against the Constitution, aren't you considered a traitor? Right? But there's all these problems and there's no consequences. The consequences come after Makkah is conquered. The stability that Allah promised comes after Makkah is conquered. The deen is stabilized after Makkah is conquered. So the formative stages are in Medina. Medina is a critical phase, but it's not the state. And actually, if you want to call Medina the state, probably you can call it the state after Hudaybiyah, not before. Like a full-fledged state, you can probably call it after Hudaybiyah. Because after Hudaybiyah, it's a domino effect. The position has been stabilized, as we'll learn in Surah Al-Fath eventually, if we get there in this Ramadan. You know, and that's when the society has been established. Now the Muslims are being promised this, and obviously when the Muslims are being promised something, it's something they don't already have. So if they're being promised stability in the land, and khilafah, etc., that's something that's coming. وَلَيُبَدِّلَنَّهُم مِّن بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ أَمْنًا, and He will replace their state of fear with peace. Now, this makes me inclined to believe that Ahzab is still coming. The battle of Ahzab is still coming, but I could be wrong. Why? Because in Surah Al-Ahzab, when the believers saw the intense state of fear, they said, هَذَا مَا وَعَدَنَا اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ. They said, this is what Allah and His Messenger promised. This ayah says, He will replace their fear with safety, with peace. And in Surah Al-Ahzab, when the city is surrounded, they say, this is exactly the fear. Allah promised it. And what's coming after the fear? Safety. So they see the fear and they say, yes, I know what's coming after. They don't even see it as a bad piece of news. So this is مِن بَعْدِ خَوْفِهِمْ أَمْنًا. You know? يَعْبُدُونَنِي. They're going to be enslaving themselves to me. لَا يُشْرِكُونَ بِي شَيْئًا. They won't be associating any partners with me in that society. That society will be about worshipping me. وَمَنْ كَفَرَ بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. And after all of that, when a society is established, and then somebody does kufr, and then somebody leaves the religion, then those are the inherently corrupt. Look, people left Islam. A lot of people left Islam, even at the Prophet's time, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But when the entire religion is established, its justice, its beauty, its perfection can be seen by anybody, what greatness it brought to society at all levels, for Muslims and non-Muslims. Then when a Muslim says, I don't think this is the right religion, and walks away, then he's considered a traitor, then he's punished. فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةَ وَآتُوا الزَّكَاةَ. Now the Muslims are being told victory is coming, and they're like, yes, victory is coming. What should we do? How do we get ready for this victory? Allah says, okay, focus. Establish salat and give zakat. Atu zakat. وَأَطِيعُوا الرَّسُولِ. And obey the messenger. The messenger is your guide to victory. I will guide him and he will guide you. لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. So that all of you may be shown mercy. In other words, if you falter in your loyalty and obedience and discipline behind the messenger, you won't be qualified for mercy. If you want mercy, you better take the messenger seriously. لَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مُعْجِزِينَ فِي الْأَرْضِ. Don't let those who disbelieve ever dare make you think. لا تحسبن, don't you dare think about those who disbelieved, معجزين في الأرض, that they're going to overpower anybody in the land. They got nothing. Don't you dare think that, even if the entire city is surrounded by them. Don't you dare let that thought cross your mind. That's not going to happen. وَمَأْوَاهُمُ النَّارِ. And their final place, their place of refuge is the fire. وَلَبِئْسَ الْمَصِيرِ. And what a horrible place to go back to that is. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لِيَسْتَأْذِنْكُمُ الَّذِينَ. Now SubhanAllah, in the middle of all of this, Meccans, battle, khilafah on the earth, and all of a sudden, those of you who have iman, make sure that the people you own, the slaves, لِيَسْتَأْذِنْكُمْ الَّذِينَ مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ وَالَّذِينَ لَمْ يَبْلُغُوا الْحُلُمْ. The people who you own, meaning slaves, servants, and those who haven't reached maturity yet, meaning children. Children. Both of them, they should ask your permission. مِنْكُمْ ثَلَاثْ مَرَّاتٍ. They should ask your permission 3 times. مِنْ قَبْلِ صَلَاةِ الْفَجْرِ. Right before the prayer of Fajr. So you guys now, living in Texas, alhamdulillah, not like New York City, where 1 bedroom, four kids. But Texas, everybody's got a room, every kid has a room. You have your own bedroom, mom and dad. So you're now in your bedroom, and you close the door. and a kid walks in before Fajr, just walks in and lies down between you. Mama. And they tend to kick the father usually. Just kind of move over, Dad. This is my spot right now. Allah says, train your children before they reach that age that they should knock or they should ask permission 3 times before they enter the bedroom. Now we're learning Sharia law in the bedroom, inside the house. Don't let them come into the room. Before Fajr, during the day, okay, no problem. During the day, no problem. Everybody woke up for breakfast, after Fajr Salat, they can walk in all they want. And now, husband and wife know when to be aware of the fact that kids can walk in at any time, and when they can't. Our deen is so complete, man. It's so complete. Before Fajr, don't let your kids in, ask them to ask permission. If they don't have that sense, they just open the door, put a little tiny lock on it, so they have to knock. Do something, so you can implement this ayah. And when your child knocks on that door, Mama, can I come in? Then you will get reward because you just fulfilled an ayah. You'll get rewarded because you just did what Allah said. That child will be rewarded in his future for putting a little bit of a lock, just turning the door. Just that. It becomes an act of ibadah. من قبل صلاة الفجر وحين تضعون ثيابكم, and when you take your clothes off, you're relaxed in a t-shirt or some shorts or something in the middle of the afternoon, you take a qaylula, an afternoon nap. At that time when you just want to go into the bed, you just lie down for a little bit, chill, hibernate. That time also, close the door. Let them come in with permission. They shouldn't just walk in on you. حين تضعون ثيابكم. Maybe that doesn't happen for you every day because you get home at 5 o'clock? But maybe it does. Maybe you get home at 5 o'clock and between 5 and 7 you're just a hibernating bear. You pass out. Or you want to talk to the wife about something. And the kids are there. Kids, just finish your homework. And if you want to come in, ask permission first. Close the door. You're with the wife. That's it. That time in the afternoon. من الظهيرة, during the afternoon time. And most of the time we are in the workplace and we usually get home around Asr time. That's the normal situation for us. But absolutely on the weekends this should be implemented, at least in the literal sense that it's said. وَمِن بَعْدِ صَلَاةِ الْعِشَاءِ, and after Isha prayer, meaning nighttime. Good night, everybody, go to sleep. Then they show up again. Mama, can I have some ice cream? They show up out of nowhere. Door should be closed, they should knock. And you shouldn't go crazy like yelling at them if they knock on the door. What is it? Actually, Allah even teaches us you should expect them to show up way crack of dawn before Fajr. In the afternoon when you're about to take a rest. And at night time, I thought I put you to sleep, child. Why are you up again? Allah says expect it. So cool that Allah Azza wa Jalla told us these are the 3 hours where you really just don't want to see them right now. But they will absolutely show up. So, وَمِن بَعْدِ صَلَاةِ الْعِشَاءِ ثَلَاثُ عَوْرَاتٍ لَكُمْ. See, God knows. He just knows. It's so close to home, this stuff. Any parent will read this and be like, oh man, yeah. Oh, can't believe Allah told us about that. Well, I can believe it, I'm a believer. ثَلَاثُ عَوْرَاتٍ لَكُمْ. 3 hours of privacy for you. Awrat, something that should be hidden. Awra, something that shouldn't be exposed. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ وَلَا عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ عَلَيْهِمْ جُنَاحٌ بَعْدَهُنَّ. But then upon you and upon them, there is no harm after those hours. The rest of the time, the home is a train station, go wherever you want, it's all good. So you shouldn't make your room like haram, you can't go there. Because you know what that does? It creates a curiosity. And they're like, what's going on in there? What are you guys doing? What are you talking about? And then their ears are stuck to the door. And you open the door. Well, no, don't do that. Let them play on your bed, run around, it's okay. That's all right. After that, there's no harm on you or none on them. I've shared with you before, junah, in Arabic, sin, actually comes from guna, Farsi word, which we use in Urdu. Ko guna hi nahi hai. Laysa alayk wala alayhim junahun ba'dahunna, after those hours. And those hours, Allah called them not ba'daha, He called them ba'da hunna. Hunna lit-ta'zim. Those hours are really important. Take this seriously. That's in the word hunna. That you should take those hours seriously. Don't make this a light matter. Yeah, Quran says it, but my kid is a little... No. And Allah didn't say they can't come into your room. Allah just said they have to what? Seek permission 3 times before they come in. That's it. And 3 times doesn't mean they knock once and you say, wait, 2 more times before I let you in. Allah said, no, 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 no. That means if they didn't get an answer the first time, they should do it another time, and they should do it a 3rd time, and then they should go back. They should go back. But that doesn't mean you're like, we're going to fulfill the Qur'an's ayah, so I'm waiting. You know? You know? So, طَوَّافُونَ عَلَيْكُمْ. Then they're going to go back and forth on you. And literally Allah describes, you know, the kids going all over the place. Tawaf means to end up where you started. And you'll notice your kid, you'll say, where are you going? I don't know. And they'll go, climb on the bed, come back, go over there, come back, climb on the bed again, go and go. And they'll keep doing tawaf. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're just doing that. Every time you walk into somebody's house that has kids, this is what they're doing. Allah describes us as tawafuna alaykum. They're going to come, and Allah doesn't just say tawafuna bikum, right by you, they're going to go around by you. No, they'll come, they'll climb on top of you, alaykum, on top of you. You know, they'll hang off of you, then run off, then come back, and all of it's captured. Tawafuna alaykum. Ba'dukum ala ba'd. كذلك يبين الله لكم الآيات لعلكم والله عليم حكيم. And you're going to be coming upon one another, no problem. You'll go in their room, they'll go in your room. The house is an open space. That is how Allah clarifies the ayat to you. And Allah is all knowledgeable, full of wisdom. وَإِذَا بَلَغَ الْأَطْفَالُ مِنْكُمُ الْحُلُمْ. When kids reach older age, when they become mature, when they're young adults, when they're teenagers, when they're, you know, they're beyond that age where they should be considered children. فَلْيَسْتَأْذِنُوا كَمَا اسْتَأْذَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Then they should ask permission just like those who came much before them. In other words, those that were mentioned before them. You know how outsiders come and have to knock outside the house? So your teenage kids can't just walk in on you because they've moved out now. They live on their own now. So they can't just walk into you, hey mom, I just decided to walk in. No, 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 no. You got to knock and ring the... But this is my house. You're my mom. No. Quran says they should act like all other adults, and they should knock and ask permission and then come in. This is different. Fuqaha can disagree on this, whether, you know, when they reach older age, if they are living under the same roof, that's something else. But if they moved out, that's something else. From what I understand, Allahu A'lam, if they've moved out, then when they come to visit, then they should actually act like a visitor. They shouldn't act like they live there, and they should ask. And that's the appropriate thing to do. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمْ آيَاتِهِ وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ. That is how Allah clarifies His miraculous signs to all of you, and Allah is full of knowledge, all wise. وَالْقَوَاعِدُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. And the sitting among the women, قواعد from قاعدات, the جمع مكسر of قاعدات. The multitudes of women that are just sitting. In other words, they didn't get married. They didn't get married. They passed the age of marriage. They weren't interested in marriage, etc. Okay? And mostly it refers to, according to most scholars, women that are beyond the age and are like really old grandma type of situation. That's what it's talking about. مِنَ النِّسَاءِ اللَّاتِي لَا يَرْجُونَ نِكَاحًا. The ones that don't wish for marriage anymore. فَلَيْسَ عَلَيْهِنَّ جُنَاحٌ أَنْ يَضَعْنَ ثِيَابَهُنَّ. Then there's no harm on them that they don't take the protective gear, the garments, the clothing that I've described in this surah, Allah says. In other words, the khimar, the other thiyabun, they don't have to be as conservative in their clothing as everybody else. So if they're not covering their hair, and she's got like gray or white hair, and she's an old lady with her hunched back, and she's walking by like, astaghfirullah al-azim, la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, and you put it like a, you know, dastarkhan over her or something. You can't do that. It's fine for them. They're okay. There's no harm on them. أَنْ يَضَعْنَ ثِيَابَهُنَّ غَيْرَ مُتَبَرِّجَاتٍ بِزِينَةٍ. Even them, sometimes old women are attractive too. Sometimes they're beautiful too. And they want to be beautiful too. They shouldn't, even those women that have the leisure of not having to cover it in that same way as everybody else, should not do so for tabarruj. That doesn't mean that they go on a fashion show at that age. Tabarrujat means to be, burj actually means a tower, because it's prominent. So don't try to be prominent or wear like outrageous colors that try to get everybody's attention and jewelry and things like that. This is tabarruj for a woman. Tabarrujat al-mar'a, for a woman to show her beauty off. So they shouldn't dress provocatively, if you can say that. Bizina. وَأَنْ يَسْتَعْفِفْنَا خَيْرٌ لَهُنَّ. And if they actually still at that old age observe the hijab, it would be better for them. Meaning if they were still going out of their way to protect their chastity, their dignity, it's more dignified, it's better for them, even though I'm letting them know they have both options. Okay? Wallahu sami'un alim. And Allah hears everything, knows everything. لَيْسَ عَلَى الْأَعْمَى حَرَجٍ. The blind person you don't have to guard yourself against. Women don't have to wear the khimar against the blind person, obviously. وَلَا عَلَى الْأَعْرَجِ. And nor against the one that's disabled. You're taking care of a disabled person in your family. That's okay. وَلَا عَلَى الْمَرِيضِ حَرَجٍ. Nor for the perpetually sick. Not like, oh, my cousin has a cold, therefore I don't have to wear hijab anymore. No. If someone is like, bedridden type thing, then this leisure has been given. Again, something you should consult with fuqaha to get the full depth of the interpretation. وَلَا عَلَى أَنفُسِكُمْ. And there's no harm upon you either. أَن تَأْكُلُوا مِن بُيُوتِكُمْ أَوْ بُيُوتِ آبَائِكُمْ أَوْ بُيُوتِ أُمَّهَاتِكُمْ أَوْ بُيُوتِ إِخْوَانِكُمْ. And there's no harm for you to go over and eat at your own homes. Because when these restrictions were given, and these people, there's no harm if you're with them without the formal covering. Then like, we can't go anywhere but our own homes. What can we do? So Allah Azza wa Jalla revealed, no, there's no harm if you go over to eat at your own homes, or the homes of your fathers, your moms, your brothers, or buyuti akhawatikum, your sisters' homes, or buyuti a'mamikum, or buyuti ammatikum, your aunts, your male uncles and your female, your aunts, meaning paternal uncles and aunts, أو بيوت أخوالكم وبيوت خالاتكم, and your maternal uncles and aunts. So now that would be the chacha and the pupi, the first two. Pupi, that's how properly pronounced. So English speakers don't get confused with foul language. Akhwalikum is your mamu, and khalatikum would be khala. That's the only one that we got right in Urdu. Khala is actually khala. Okay. Everybody else is all wrong. Okay. أَوْ مَا مَلَكْتُمْ. Or whatever you've come to own, meaning you can be around them. Of the same gender, that is. So if they're women slaves, you don't have to cover in front of them. أَوْ مَا مَلَكْتُمْ مَفَاتِحَهُ actually. Sorry. And all the places that you own the keys to. If you have multiple properties, you own them, then you can walk into those properties, because some people have second homes, third homes, etc. Then you don't have to have that kind of, I'm not in my number one home, so I have to observe different code here. أَوْ صَدِيقِكُمْ لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ أَن تَأْكُلُوا جَمِيعًا. Or if you go to a friend's house, there's no harm, meaning sisters go to a friend's house and they relax and they're like, I shouldn't take my hijab off because I'm at a friend's house. Well, if there's no non-mahram there, it's fine. It's cool, you can relax among each other. لَيْسَ عَلَيْكُمْ جُنَاحٌ أَن تَأْكُلُوا جَمِيعًا. There's no harm on you that you should eat together, أَوْ أَشْتَاتًا, or separated. This ayah, there's some interesting modern interpretation, and there's a classical debate also. I'll leave that to Shaykh Abdul Nasir to discuss. I'm going to ask him to come in one day and just give a dars on this particular thing. It's talking about people coming and eating together or separated. Meaning, some have interpreted that means all the genders can sit together and eat, or separate and eat. But we know from Muslim tradition, it's usually men by themselves, women by themselves, and that's been the tradition. But I wanted to have this discussion with a faqih, so inshallah I'll invite Shaykh Abdul Nasir just on a session on this particular ayah and what its implications are. فَإِذَا دَخَلْتُمْ بُيُوتًا. Then when you do go into homes, فَسَلِّمُوا عَلَى أَنفُسِكُمْ تَحِيَّةً. Then say salam to your own selves as a greeting. Now this means two things. They are your people. When you go into somebody's house, these are your people. So they're an extension of yourself, so say salam to them. Also means when you go into your own house, nobody's there, you should still say salamu alaikum to yourself. That's why people say salamu alaikum when they walk into a house after a long time. And people are like, what are you doing? Actually, it's in the Quran. Greet yourselves. Tahiyyatan min indillah. This is a greeting and a good news from Allah Himself. Mubarakatan tayyiba. This puts into the house, injects into the house blessings, good and pure blessings, and increases goodness in the house. Just saying salam when you walk into the house. Even if nobody's home. Don't say, hello, anybody here? Hey, where's everybody? Just walk in and say, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Then you can act like a sibyan. Then you can act like a kid. I forget the expression. كل رجل في بيته كل رجل الرجل في بيته صبيان. I think that's what it is. The man in his own home turns into a child. So you could do that, become weird when you get home, but not until you say salam first. كَذَلِكَ يُبَيِّنُ اللَّهُ لَكُمُ الْآيَاتِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. That is how Allah explains His miraculous signs to you, so that all of you may be able to understand. The last 3 ayat of the surah require some detailed discussion because they go back to the seerah again. That is why I'm not going to share that with you today. We're way over time already. I'll start tomorrow's dars with them, inshallah ta'ala. We'll finish Surah An Nur and then start Surah Al-Furqan tomorrow. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن الحكيم ونفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم.